That was nearly on cue that everyone just quieted down at 7 o'clock. Well, I want to welcome everyone to SGA's first State of the Students address. My name is Will Kubal. I am SGA's vice president this year. An event this large and this significant couldn't be done without various individuals and departments on campus. So I'd like to thank them now. First and foremost, our hardworking senators in SGA for helping plan the event, publicize the event, eat all of our food for the event, which really helps. By the way, there is more food. So if you ever feel hungry during the speeches or during our intermission period today, feel free to grab more. I want to thank Concordia's Digital Media Services for coming out, for live streaming us tonight. So for all those who couldn't make it out tonight, they can still receive our State of the Students. I want to thank Concordia's catering, SGA's advisors, Natalie Reinhardt and Brent Johnson, and all of you in the room, students, faculty, staff, administration alike, for coming out, showing a dedication to remaining informed on what happens not only within SGA, but also what happens outside of the classroom here at Concordia. SGA this year has a platform centered on connecting and connection. That means SGA better connects to the members inside of its organization. It means SGA better connects to the students it represents. It means SGA better connects to the faculty and staff who work so hard to make this school great, and also the greater Cobber community. We play a really, really interesting role, an important role. And with a platform like Connection, an event like this is almost required. So we can make one thing clear: this will not be the only time that a State of the Students address will be held in this administration. It's our hope that this becomes a long-standing tradition to not only give our senators an excuse to be dressed up in public, but also a way to update campus on the hard work that we do and the hard work that our students do outside of SGA. Our platform also centers on a newfound accountability for our senators and cabinet members to tackle initiatives encompassing major goals and major topics like diversity, mental health, and sustainability. But they also work on initiatives to handle more of the tangible, immediate projects that our school faces, like working on getting barbells on the cardio balcony, or working on getting that all-anticipated yogurt bar in DS. All of these initiatives are important and they require hard work. So I'd like to take a moment to recognize all of our senators for their hard work this semester. Now, why this event? Why an event that centers on not only updating campus on the hard work that we do, because it does more than that. Updating means a newfound accountability. If our constituents or Concordia student bodies are unsure of what we're up to, how can they properly hold us accountable? They elected us to represent them, their needs, their wants, and their ideas to better this school that we all love. And that's why we do it. To let Concordia know, and the students that we care so much about, that we're working for them, and we're working hard for them. So as you'll find when Anna comes up to deliver the brunt of the speech, we'll have examples and we'll have specifics. Because you do see a lot of the things that SGA does on the main radar, but at the same time, some things fly below it. And we want to make sure that our senators are recognized and that you all know what we're up to. Now, to break down the event a little bit on what you can anticipate tonight, immediately following me, I'll invite Michaela Clements, our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Lead Commissioner, to give us an update on the exciting things planned for that commission, and then SGA's President, Anna Van Valkenburg, will deliver sort of the main body, like I said. Immediately following the State of the Students address at roughly 8 o'clock, we will convene a Senate meeting that is open to all of us in the room, to the Concordia community, but not to the external community. The Senate meeting is meant to pass a position statement, as well as to discuss a funding resolution that was passed last Thursday. If we've learned one thing recently, it's that SGA is called to represent its constituents. And if that means having uncomfortable conversations, if that means holding public events like this, so be it. It's what we take on as student leaders. It's what we take on as students who are interested in government. And it's what we take on as students who are interested in bettering Concordia College. So with that, I would like to welcome Michaela Clements, the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion's lead commissioner.
Hello, everybody. I'm a little sick, so if I just start having a cough attack, hopefully that doesn't happen. So I am Michaela Clements, the new Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Lead Commissioner. Short, we can call it DEIC, because I know it's a lot to say. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about just kind of what we have going on so far, things to look forward to in the future, just kind of things like that. So right now, the DEIC is a startup commission. So we don't have long-term initiatives and long-term goals yet because we're just getting started. So we're in the process of just starting everything up. So little things I've been working on are things like getting an email address for DEIC. So just little things like that, or making sure our computers are updated, things like that. So that's just kind of the little things that I'm working on so far. And right now, I'm gathering a committee. So applications went live yesterday, and the application deadline is December 18th. So if you check your email, I think it was Cobweb that sent it out to everybody. So you can check your email. You can also just email me, deic@cord.edu, or I'm sitting over there, so feel free to just come up to me and say, hey, I want the link. So apply if you're interested. If you know anyone who would be really great to be a part of this committee, just let me know. You can also just give me their name and I'll personally reach out to them. So just going into what mission statement we have for the DEIC as of now. The mission statement we have now is the DEIC is dedicated and committed to honor the uniqueness of each individual, to embrace diverse backgrounds, to advocate for equitable and inclusive communities, and to create opportunities for students to develop intercultural competencies. So that is the mission statement that Amina came up with when she wrote the position out. And Amina and I have discussed this a lot. Amina is the diversity coordinator, and she's also my advisor. When we talked about the mission statement, we talked about how it can be changed. So when that committee comes into play, we can definitely make those changes. We also don't have to stick with Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Commission. We could change the name if we wanted to. We have that type of power. If there are any suggestions on a different name, honestly, those are welcome. So just know that right now, everything is in the startup process. So things can be changed, things can be added. Nothing is set in stone. And so something I wanted to add that we have been working on are weekly discussions. It's called Not Happy Hour. And so it's a place where minority converse and allies can just be. So it's just a time for students who feel underrepresented at Concordia, or minorities or people who just feel like they want to be an ally to these students, to just come up into the office and just have tea and snacks and just discuss things. So it could even be anywhere from as small as just it's finals week and it's just craziness and you feel this pressure. It doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be critical. It can just be a place where people can just be and exist and have those open conversations. We're going to be starting those every Thursday in January, and those will be from 7:15 to 8. And I'm sure we'll probably send out more publicity for it, and you'll get more updates regarding that. We also have a training coming up called the Campus Circle Keeper. And basically, it's a 2 to 5 day 2.5 day training. And the dates are January 26th to the 28th. You guys have probably received an email about it. It's a paid training, so circle keeping is basically intentional shared space where you can aim to like lift barriers between people, open up those conversations, and also collaborate and connect with other people. So it's a training basically that will help facilitate conversations and have those open conversations. And I think that it would be really helpful now in our particular climate that we need to be able to have that civil discourse with one another, be open-minded to one another, and really listen and hear one another. I think this training would be really beneficial. There's limited space. There's 25 students. You're getting paid. You're getting a stipend. All your meals are paid for. Your lodging is paid for, and transportation is provided. We have little handouts that I cut. They're not very pretty. Sorry. It's actually something they don't tell you in the job description that you're going to have to do, and I'm not very good at it. I have other skills. That's not one. So you'll get a poorly cut out flyer, but if you want one and you're interested, just come up to me and I will gladly give you one, any other information that you would like. And so that is kind of everything that I have. Basically, long-term goals and initiatives have not been set in stone yet, only because I want to wait until I have that committee created. That way people have a say in what is going into the DEIC, and I want also input just from people in general. So nothing has been set in stone. But we do have money for getting things done. So we did our budget and funding and all of that, and we have our money from what was CSC. So it is now moved to the DEIC, and so we do have money for funding some projects and stuff like that, and we want to start utilizing that and start making a list of maybe things that can start going towards that funding. So if you have ideas, feel free to just shoot me an email, let me know, because right now we're super flexible. So yeah, thanks everyone for letting me talk. I didn't have a cough attack. This is like the longest I haven't coughed. So do I just get a clap? Okay.
So everyone in the back, please feel welcome to come in and sit down. I'm not gonna shun you. I know I just called attention to you, so I really did shun you. But yep, just come in. And if anyone is hungry or wants a drink or needs to go to the bathroom, please just go out and do that. I understand that we are all humans and we have to do those things. So I should probably introduce myself at this point. I'm Anna Van Valkenburg, the student government president at Concordia College. And I'm really excited to see you all here tonight and to be able to tell you a little bit about what SGA is doing and to make sure that you're informed about the different things happening on campus. So in my role as student government president, I walk around, and it was really weird to get used to. I'm walking on campus and someone will yell out, "Oh, it's Madam President," and I'm like, what? Just looking around, not totally sure. And you're just walking in Knutson, you know, like in your sweatpants, and then all of a sudden an admissions tour is like, "And that's the president." I'm like, oh no. So there's definitely a lot of public eye on you, and that's been something I'm getting used to, for sure. And people ask you about SGA, and they've come up to me and they've said, "Oh, how's it going?" And you know, for the first few months, and this was pretty accurate about how I felt. I said, "Oh, busy but good, busy but good." You know, that's the proper response, right? But more recently, I've been saying, "Well, I'm pretty stressed out. I haven't been sleeping much. I'm working really hard. I don't know." The shaking is actually because I'm just, you know, showing you that emotion. So there are a lot of things that go into being in this role, and I've realized that I've really recognized my own identity in this role, being a woman and being a young leader, what that means, the different challenges it presents. And I want to be really open and honest about that. It's not something that's easy, and I don't always have my life together. Even though I'm standing up wearing a blazer behind a podium, that doesn't mean I'm not a student just like everyone else. And someone the other day was explaining their long-term relationship to me, right? Because she was getting guidance on, well, is it really worth it? It's going to hurt if we break up and things like this. And I said, well, you know, it's just like SGA. And I was like, it's like my relationship with SGA. You're really committed, and then you get a lot out of it, and sometimes it hurts, but it's worth it. And I was like, oh, so I'm married to SGA now. That's something. But on a more serious note, I really think that the lack of sleep and the stress and the work are all worth it, because to really care about something and to really try to make a change in a campus culture is not an easy thing. And I just have been so glad to have the exec team and the entire student senate beside me and supporting me along this journey. It's just been amazing. But anyway, I'm going to talk about a lot more than myself, I promise. So I'm going to give a broad overview sort of what we've been working on this semester and the different things that we'll be working on in the future. And so a lot of those things are connecting with campus, as Will mentioned, mental health, diversity, sustainability, and then I'm also going to give updates from different student orgs on campus. So I'll start with connecting, since I'm here right now speaking to you all. This is definitely one of our events that we're trying to connect with the student body. And we've just started to implement office hours in the atrium. And so we're really excited because we want to be in a visible place where we can be approached with new ideas, with criticisms. We really just want to put ourselves in that place where we're available to the students that we are here to represent. Another example of us really working to represent constituents, and by the way, that's just lingo for you all, for the student body who voted for us, right? An example of that is, so last Thursday in Senate, we allocated funding towards Ben Shapiro coming to campus, towards the Young Americans for Freedom who had requested that funding. We allocated that, and we received a lot of emails, and a lot of people reached out to us. And so I want to just be open and talk about this here, because we're going to talk about this more. We made a motion to rescind based on the feedback we received, and that will be discussed in our Student Senate meeting immediately following this event. And we want to be really clear that we sent out an all-campus email, and we read all of the feedback we got from a variety of perspectives, because we really do want to hear all of the students' opinions on this and take that all into consideration. So just so you know, we're really trying to listen to the entire student body on this. But you will hear more only if you come to the Student Senate meeting, so you should probably, that's a little plug for that. We've been trying to get people to come to Student Senate meetings. We've been doing Senate previews, which are just like these little blurbs of different SGA people telling you what's on the agenda and trying to get you to come. But we're also going to start sending out some all-campus emails with the meeting minutes from the week before, and either the agenda or like, here's what to expect at the next Senate. Because we understand that you all are very busy, but if you see something on there that you're passionate about on the agenda, we'd really like to see you come out and express your opinion on that, or if you can't be there, to reach out to us ahead of time and make sure that you're represented. We also have been doing a lot of supporting through SIC funding. So SIC, Jonathan Immel is the commissioner for that, and they fund all sorts of different initiatives. All sorts of different organizations and clubs on campus. And the new one we're funding is the Mock Trial Club, because we know there was a lot of interest in that. Jacob Hansen, and he's the ECC commissioner. So I'm going to be using some acronyms. The ECC is the Elections and Credentials Council. So he has been working with Jenny Reinen, the Academic Affairs commissioner, and trying to get a music therapy master's program offered here. So beyond working with the students and student groups, we also work with faculty, which is something that we really enjoy doing, and we think we get a lot more done by doing that. And beyond the campus community, we're also working with the community, the FM area. A good example of that is our first ever tri-college rep is working this year. Katriana Melhoff is working on making sure students know how to register for different courses when they want to take stuff that maybe Concordia can't offer. And so you'll hear more from her around registration. But we've also been meeting with something called MAPSIS. Here's a big acronym for you. The Minnesota Association of Private College Students. And for MAPSIS, Jacob Hansen is the co-commissioner, which is pretty exciting, so he helps lead that group. And essentially what that group does is it brings together leaders from different campuses in Minnesota. And we just went to a conference last weekend, and it was astounding, just the things you hear about how other campuses operate, the functions that their student senate serves, or what it's called, if it's called student government, student whatever, that's all the different names. And we learned a ton from that conference. And we got to learn a lot about the initiatives we're working on. And one of those big broad goals that we have is diversity. So at the very beginning of the year, we were incredibly set up because we had this office space that used to be CSC's, and we had the funding. And we met with our advisor, and we met with the new diversity coordinator, and we said, oh, this is perfect. And so we made sure that the new diversity commission, DEIC, got up on its feet and got the funding it needed to become a thing, right? No one had ever created a commission, so we were all kind of like, oh, how do you create a commission? I don't know. But we figured it out, and now it exists. So that's exciting. I won't talk a lot about it because Michaela just talked, but we're just really excited to work with them and to see how they grow as an organization into their own. We already collaborated with them just a little bit on the campus forums. As you know, or many of you might know anyway, in response to the It's Okay to Be White signs that were hung around campus, we held our first ever campus forum, and we had amazing conversation and incredible response rate as far as feedback went. We learned a ton. And so one of the things that we learned was that students were concerned about how diversity was represented on the school's website. And so Helen Hill, our diversity rep, took that information and kind of ran with it and has reached out to marketing to try to talk about the representation on the website and making sure that the ratio is accurately represented in the advertising for the school. So that's something that we think is really important. So when students come here, they're not like, oh my gosh, everyone's white, surprise. That could be a shocking thing, and it sounds crazy hearing me say it maybe, but hearing other students say it, it's like, wow, we need to work on that. So we're trying to really support students as far as diversity goes. And Helen Hill is also working with Sunny Lee, our senior class representative, and they're working on creating a survey to send out to students about diversity and how students feel, if they feel comfortable on campus, if they feel like their voice is being heard. And so just like a fun anecdote on surveys, when I was a sophomore class rep, I heard the results of a survey on MLK Day. And the results were, duh, students don't want class on that day, and neither do faculty, and we should be doing something more. And so because I heard that, I said, okay, we need to do something. So I brought a position statement forward, got a task force started, and now we don't have school on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And that was not all me, that was a ton of teamwork, and it actually passed when I was studying abroad in Ireland. But it's amazing because now Kaylee Zablotny, right there, our Programs and Events Commissioner, I just think our senators are loving being called out, don't you? But our Program and Events, she's planning the first ever programming for the entire campus because classes have been reconvened at programming so that we can learn beyond the classroom on that day because it's such an important day to recognize. And another thing that we're doing this year that we haven't done before, lots of this, Sean Zimney, right there, whispering, not listening to me talk. Yep, thanks. Sean Zimney. I just wanted to laugh so I could drink. I'm very parched. Sean Zimney. What a guy. So he is starting the first ever Disabilities Council, which is really exciting because disabilities and accessibility is something that we've really needed to work on as a campus for a long while. So he gave me the mission statement. It's still developing, but it is the Concordia College Disabilities Accommodations Council mission is to address and evaluate the lack of adequate accessibility for persons living with disabilities on campus, while striving to initiate change through raising awareness and implementing policy. He's also looking for members to still join the council, so everyone, I think, recognizes him from me calling him out, but I'll do it again. We really, this year, want to make sure that we're working with students that aren't just in SGA, so if you're not in SGA, you can join, and if you are, please still join. It's always helpful to have people working on things. Another thing that we have been working on, I've done it, I did this earlier, I'm sorry, but please come in and take a seat if you want. I just feel bad. I've been that person before standing in the back, so it's just not always fun. Anyway, standing, speaking of standing, SGA has decided to take a firm stand on something. Transition, right? Yeah, we've taken a strong stand on the location of the Diversity Coordinator for Student Support Services. And it has been in the works that she might move to Lorenzen Hall, and that is not something that student government is okay with, and I'll tell you why, just briefly. Being in that different location means putting her into, I should say her name. Amina Chaudhry is the Diversity Coordinator for Student Support Services, and SGA has had the pleasure of working with her this year. Her office is located right next to ours in the Park Student Leadership Center. And we have learned a tremendous amount from her, but we've also seen students go in there to get help, to get support, and to really just have that support that they need. And we fear that if the location of her permanent office moves to Lorenzen Hall, that students won't feel as comfortable. I mean, I won't walk into Lorenzen Hall unless I look presentable, because that's where the people who hold higher office, I guess you could say, like the president and the dean and financial aid all are. And that is not a knock against the building, because I love the people who work in that building, and I love going in there and talking with them. But we just think that it would be best suited if her location stayed where it is. And you'll be seeing a position statement in our Senate meeting immediately following this. So you're more than welcome to stay and talk to that if you'd like. So we love chatting with Amina, but we actually do interact with other offices as well. They don't give us tea, but oh well. That's a shout out to any offices in the audience. Please give us tea. So we've been working with the Counseling Center, more specifically Matthew Rutten, who's the director, and talking to him about some different ideas that he has. One of the things that they're starting next semester is called Let's Talk. It's something that a few other college campuses have done, and they place counselors around the campus, and students can just come in and you can just have a talk with them about how your roommate situation is going, or just it's kind of like a way to test out counseling. Like, do you just need some help in the moment, a quick 10-minute consultation? And we're hoping that by having counselors posted around that we'll see that, and that students will feel comfortable then to go to the counseling center, because they recognize the faces, they recognize the name. And so we financially supported them by just allocating some money to the signs. So it's a pretty simple thing, but we're really excited and we want to support them. We've also been working with Active Minds. Michaela Clements has been great. We worked with them on Mental Health Awareness Week. They did the brunt of the work, but we helped publicize and brought a speaker to that. And we're also working on doing mental health kits to give to the freshmen, because it's a transitional time there. And something very exciting that we've never done, that we got resource cards on every single door in the dorms, which I mean literally is a small thing, but it means that we value mental health and safety on this campus, and we made sure that students had those resources right away when they got here. We also are working on something that's pretty exciting. Will Kubal is working on a committee, and you'll hear a lot more about this later, but they're exploring how to bring a collaborative, holistic, communal mental health and addictions plan to campus, something that would overarch the campus and really give us a structure and a way to better address mental health and just make sure our students are getting the best possible resources just by all working together. And we're really excited because we know from talking to the counseling center that they just really are trying hard and are being great resources, and they work with students, and we just love the collaboration that we've had with them and with administration when we talk about these things. But we've also done some funding of looking forward here, Opioid Awareness Week and also Autism Awareness Week. And those are really important events to make sure that people know what's going on with mental health and just the different caveats that come with that. Alongside that, Keaton Erickson, sitting back there, spoke at a panel on autism because he works at the Autism Center. And we think it's exciting to get out there as an exec team, but as a student government too, and to really connect with students, especially the students who were doing these integrative learning experiences, these events, the hashtag FM Together, is that right? So Will went to that and spoke, and then the other group who did the autism event. We're just really proud that they were able to put on such amazing events. It's just something that our students do, and we love it. But next we are going to talk about something else that we need to talk about on campus, which is sustainability. And earlier this year, SGA was honored to be a part of sponsoring Republican, so that you can't see it, but the EN stands for environmental. At the end of Republican, there's no A, so it's kind of catchy. The speaker for that was Bob Inglis, because we believe that climate change is something that we can all unite around and come together and just really support, regardless of political inclinations. So Lacey Kirkevold, I'm sorry, I stumbled over that, Lacey, but she is our sustainability advocate, and she's been doing some amazing things this year. The sustainability fund that supported the Republican event is actually chaired by her, and they funded some other really fun projects on campus. But she's also been working with MPIRG on awareness of climate change and Line 3 pipeline. I don't know much about that myself, so if you want to learn more, just talk to Lacey about that. And she's also currently rewriting a proposal for divestment, and so she is planning on presenting that to the investment committee. So I'm sure there'll be more news to come from her on that as well. And another exciting thing about sustainability, I'm sorry, I'm like, and another, but they're great things. They're just great. Water is important, and we should treat it well, right? There's no time for me to take a drink, so I'm just, Okay, well, so another exciting thing is something that our alums have been doing, our young alums. They've been starting the Alumni Sustainability Network, which is really exciting. And Lacey and Will and I met with Adam Domitz, who graduated last year and is working on this with two other Cobbers. And they're working on creating something Ken Foster explained to us. It's called a green revolving fund, and it's like incredible. It's like renewable energy, but for money. So you put your money in the fund, right, and you invest in, say, the LED lights, things like that, and then the money you save is put back into the fund. So it's just this revolving fund, in case you were wondering what it would look like. So, okay, so we have many other future plans that we will be working on in the future. We're going to start off the semester by a like drive, which I feel like sounds like, oh, please, like me, but it's not. It's not a plea for attention, I promise you. It is a like drive so that we can be more connected to the students, because like it or not, I don't like it because I hate technology, but the world is moving to social media, and so we need to be connected with our students on that. And while we have a good deal of followers, some of them have graduated, so just like, please follow us on Instagram and things. You'll hear more about that next semester. We also have been wanting to I already mentioned the meeting minutes. We're really excited about sending out the meeting minutes and the agenda in an all-campus format. I know that many students won't look at that, but I still think it's an exciting idea, so that all students do have access to that if they choose to look at it. And something else that came up that I think is really exciting is an idea I got from Sean Feeney, actually, right there, so point him out. He is a hall representative on student government, and we were driving down to the MAPSIS conference when Sean said, he's never been in SGA before, and he said, isn't there some sort of like a president's project file? And I was like, what? What are you talking about? And then he explained, he was like, so that presidents and exec teams could pass along projects they worked on and projects the Senate worked on to the next team. And I was like, that's amazing, right? We've had an initiative drive with the list of all of the initiatives, but I know this is boring. I'm just so pumped because I'm gonna start a filing system, guys. Filing system. But I think it's really important because when we talk about doing all of these forums, we recognize that we're just starting the conversation and we can't let it end with conversation. And if we truly recognize that, then what we're using these for is primarily feedback. Feedback on what the students need and what the students want. And so we're going to do a really good job of documenting that and looking at action steps and things that can come out of it. Of course, we're going to work on them, but we also are going to pass that along, because even though I will graduate and be gone from here, students will still be here with the same problems that need to be addressed. So we're really excited about working on that. Another thing Keaton is working on, Keaton, right there, he's assessing the stipends for student government, and that's an important thing too, because we want students to be involved leaders, but we also want them to be compensated so it's more open for all students to apply and really to have the time to take on those positions. And this is the really fun one. Catriana is working on a tri-college carnival. Which, doesn't that sound amazing? Cotton candy, right? Yeah. It's also a great way to network and meet with students from MSUM and NDSU. I know it's not as low-key as just going on your dating app and swiping, but you get to meet people in real life, guys. And it's about more than that. It's just about connecting as a community so we can come together and work on things as a whole Fargo-Moorhead community. So we talked a little bit about the forums that we're going to be doing next semester, and I just wanted to give you some dates in case you want to write them down. Of course, we're going to publicize them on all our social media later, so you can look at that as well. On January 23rd, we're going to have a forum on supporting sexual diversity. On February 6th, political diversity. Is anyone writing these down? I'll say them anyway. Maybe they'll stick in your heads. February 15th, gender diversity. March 6th, religious diversity. And March 19th, socioeconomic diversity. We also have the Senate dates here, and we'll make sure to send those out as they come up with the agendas that we're going to start sending out. But Senate meetings will be held January 18th, February 8th, February 22nd, March 8th, March 22nd, and April 5th. And all of those are held in the Integrated Science Center in room 260, and they start at 7:30 p.m. The crazy thing is that last one, April 5th, Will and I are not going to be Will's not going to be running the meeting. It's going to be a new team, which is crazy. Yeah, I can't believe it. I know you can't believe it either. It's just crazy. But that is a perfect segue to if you are interested in joining SGA. Of course, we want to work with you regardless of if you are in it in an official capacity or not. But we have one open position for member at large that's going to open on Monday. We also have the elections interest meeting on February 5th. So we do elections first. So whoever's interested in joining student government, you can go to that meeting and find out what you want to run for. And then if the election doesn't go so well, which I've had it happen, I've had it happen freshman year, yep. Then you can apply for a position because there are still positions to be applied for that are also amazing. And really any position can be amazing and rewarding and challenging if you choose to put the effort in. So that's the last of my plugs for SGA. But before I go on to the updates from the other student organizations, I just want to let you know I'm not going to do a question and answer period tonight, mostly because a lot of the things I'm talking about I'm not personally working on. But if you want to approach me after, I'd be more than helpful. What? I will be helpful, but I'd be more than happy to direct you to the proper person to ask your question to or to clarify something. And you can always email me as well. So some of these updates, they're very exciting. Get excited. Good. Is everyone ready? Yeah. Oh, do it again. Is everyone ready? Yeah. Okay, so you just woke up from my speech, so hear the updates at least. All right. So, the Offutt School Finance Association is taking a trip to New York. I'm going to try to not sing right now, but this is very exciting. You know, New York, yeah. It's very exciting to go to New York. But the reason that they're going there is to connect with different businesses and to network and to actually build skills. So it's more than just a fun trip. And I promise the singers in New York will be better than me. So, the hockey club has its largest number of participants within the last few years, and they're having their first game against the Olies, St. Olaf, I know, Saturday, December 9th in the Moorhead Youth Arena. So that's this Saturday at 4:30 p.m. So if you want to grab a hot cocoa and go support the Cobbers and, boo the Olies in a very respectful liberal arts fashion, we highly support that. Another exciting thing, they're all exciting, so I shouldn't say that, but the Students Nurses Association recently hosted a blood drive, and it's crazy. With the amount of blood collected, 60 lives in the Fargo-Moorhead community could potentially be saved. It's a pretty crazy fact. It's pretty amazing. So anyone who donated blood, I'm serious. Okay. And we know nurses are amazing at helping people, and they've also been helping people in the community by volunteering. And they named their Student Nurse of the Year, Bo Miller. So if you see Bo, say, "You're the student nurse." Don't say that. Say, "You're the Student Nurse of the Year." Congratulations, Bo. A quick update on Better Together. Better Together recently worked with CMC and CEC on the H-Cubed Week, the Homelessness, Housing Affordability, and Hunger Awareness Week. They've also been increasing awareness of the Interfaith Reflection Room on campus and just the different resources for interfaith on this campus, including like the minor and things of that nature. CEC doubled the amount of people at the outdoor movie this year. And there were over 100 who attended the first Zumba, something that just makes you want to dance, doesn't it? Yeah? Okay. They've also done the Amazing Race, and they're hosting the first finals brain break brunch. I currently need a brain break, and I know you all feel similar probably during finals week. So come and eat some breakfast food. That'll be next Tuesday from 8 p.m. to midnight. Ooh, it'll feature yoga. Yeah, I just picked that one up. That'll be fun. They're also working on sustainability, diversity, inclusivity, and taking those into account when they're planning cornstalk. And the sustainability piece, I know that SEA will be excited about. So we're moving into their update. SEA has been working with a lot of other student orgs, and faculty and staff and students all came together and planted nearly 50 trees behind the soccer fields. So in a few years, bring your kids here and have them hammock in the trees right out there. SEA did that. Yep. Did Haley Worm do that? Haley Worm did that. Haley Worm. SEA has also been working with the Eco House residents, and their biggest project is probably working on Earth Week, which will be April 16th to the 22nd. And if you remember from the update, Earth Week, maybe I didn't mention it, but Earth Week is also the deadline for the first Alumni Sustainability Network project. So you'll be hearing things about that in the future. The Narrative 4 college team was one of the first to give us an update. They're very prompt and very considerate people. They also are good at listening. So they've facilitated a total of 14 story exchanges covering within the past 15 months. And so only in less than a year and a half to do 14 story exchanges is pretty amazing. They've covered issues of race and ethnicity, social justice, political leadership, immigration, community, and difference. And really, they are starting this conversation and this just trying to understand one another as basic humans, which is incredible. CMC has been working on something called Reconciling in Christ Ministry. So they're being open and affirming to people of all gender identities and sexual orientations. They're working on a statement of welcome, and reading that statement will probably be more clear than what I just said, because they're working on that and they know that well. But it's incredible that they're working on that. They also were part of planning that H-Cubed week, big part, and they are working with Habitat for Humanity and Justice Journeys to offer 7 spring break trips. Okay, the Cobber handball team, yep, exciting. They're working on starting a women's chapter. So I think I heard, was it you, Glenna? Someone sounded excited. Kaylee, was that you? Okay, someone. Well, they're working on creating a women's handball team. Clearly, I'm not coordinated enough, but some of you are. And they're planning on trying to take their current team and be really more competitive and go in the Midwest and compete. But they're also doing some awesome things like hosting cleanup campaigns for local parks and things like that. Other Cobbers doing amazing things are the Love Your Melon Cobbers. They don't have specific stats for Concordia's campus, but altogether, Love Your Melon raised $1 million on Cyber Monday to give for pediatric cancer research, which is pretty amazing. Something that, Siri, do you want to clap? You were clapping. You clap. Okay, and then another student org, the ISO, or the International Student Organization, works to share cultures and experiences from students around the world. So it's open to all students from different backgrounds, and their biggest event that they hosted this year was their festival. And they have dances and songs and performances, like fashion show performances, all sorts of different things to bring together different cultures and really just to make new friends and appreciate diversity and culture. So the last update I have is not the least. In fact, I chose it pretty intentionally because it's something that SGA has a position on. We passed a position statement following the We Wear Beanies 2 protest, saying that we supported their 5 requests, and we do. And so they wrote the statement in with an update of how those are going, and thanking us for working with them, which we've loved working side by side, and it's just the beginning, working together. So just an update on some of their different, their 5 requests. So the first, they wanted a hate speech policy. And that they've been working with administration and the Chief Diversity Officer, Edward Antonio, and they've been notified that the policy is being worked on, and they're actually, so instead of creating a brand new policy, they're revamping and making the anti-bias policy that currently exists better, because it's really about the safety of students on campus. The second thing is the King Intercultural Center. So it's being analyzed and discussed within the Diversity Council. Deciding where to move a center is kind of a big question. And so, wow, there's lots of people in the back. I just looked up. Look at all the people. Thank you for showing up. That's awesome. Okay. Anyway, King Intercultural Center. So the Diversity Council is looking at where to move that. And it might take some time, but it's really exciting that they're willing to help reinvigorate the center. For orientation, they wanted a statement, orientation released a statement right before the protest that said that they were going to collaborate with the We Wear Beanies Too movement and trying to work more to introduce minority support services to students right when they come in to campus, because that's when students need to be aware of it, is right away. Number 4 is curriculum change, so kind of incorporating more of a diversity requirement to the curriculum. That's something they've been working on with faculty and trying to figure out the best approach to make sure that students, when they leave here, know more about diversity than when they get here. And so their 5th point is the location of the diversity coordinator's office. And so that is something that we're going to discuss more in the Senate meeting. And the Senate meeting is going to start in around 8 o'clock, so about 10 minutes from now. So I'm going to say this, or will say this rather, because he's chairing at the beginning of the meeting, but for the student Senate meeting, it is for the campus community and for the campus public. And so we would ask that the external public and the media do not attend, just to make sure that all students feel safe voicing their opinions on anything that comes up on the agenda. So I want to thank you again for coming out. I want to apologize for everyone I called out without asking your permission, and just say you're doing great things on this campus. Thanks, students.